What what's going on, my fellow Steamings and family D2 members? This is Robert Andrew once again calling live location from exclusively from D2 Studios in my house, my humble abode. And today I want to talk about something that's pretty serious note, I guess you could say. It's tell a little bit about my story, about my history of who I am. Uh, Back in 1980, 81, when I was a seventh grader, I was around 13 years old. I wanted to fit into the cool group, a group of eighth graders. I was in seventh grade. So I joined this group of eighth graders. It's a private school in Tennessee. And I joined their group and we taunted and just mercilessly tormented a fellow sixth grader at our school who had, well, let's just say he was a little different. He had qualities that back then were looked at as very negatively. He had feminine qualities, and we suspected he had gay tendencies. And boy, we honed in on that. And after school, on the way to the bus, we would get behind him and start calling him the F word, FAGGOT, other homophobic slurs. And I joined right in with the group. And we did that for months during that year in 1980 and 81. And I look back on that now, and if I could just feel like wringing the neck of my young Robert Andrew 13-year-old's neck and try to knock some sense into him. To my credit, later in the spring, during this end of the school year, we did take a band trip on a road trip on a bus, and I sat next to Jesse. His name was Jesse, Justin Schwam. And I sat next to him, and I profusely apologized for the way I acted. I knew it was wrong. I knew fundamentally it was just not right. And he fortunately accepted my apology. Back in the day, back during that time, the culture was different. If you were even suspected of having any kind of inclination or tendency towards being gay, you were really ridiculed and just totally alienated. And many times, like I say, slurs were thrown towards your way, homophobic slurs. And it was really just the culture was different then. And I'm thankfully over the years, we've gradually seen a culture that's become more accepting and more tolerant. But I would even say, in my case at least, it's gone from being tolerant to being embracing and celebrating uh, people who do have different sexual orientation. I have many friends, and I learn from them every day, and I've grown. And like I say, if I could go back and tell my 13-year-old self, I'd say, man, shape up, kid, because you sure got a lot of learning to do. But we still have a long ways to go with how we view people with gays and homosexualities, people who have different sexual orientation, different sexual tendencies, the LBGQ uh, group. We have a long ways to go to make things right with that. And believe it or not, there's still people who are against gay marriage these days. But we have grown, I think. Many people 10, 15, 20 years ago who are against it or for it now. So I think we've grown in that respect, but we still got a ways to go. We still got a battle to keep fighting for rights for these people, for all people, not just the gay and LBGQ group, but for race and ethnicity. Excuse me, we still got a long ways to go. So anyway, that's my little story today. A little bit about myself. I've grown. I've matured, but I still can't take away from being a gay basher, which I was in my youth when I was 12, 13 years old. I can't take that away. I can only work on being better and being caring and loving towards my fellow man. And that pretty much does it, guys. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Thanks for listening to my little story. And as always, hasta la vista. I love you guys. Take care. Robert Andrew, signing off.